So some questions about the past, then the people are asking peace and reconciliation. The Attorney General has suggested drawing a line under the past, and many young people have said they're fed up with the amount of money and time spent on this issue. Is it time to move on, and if so, how?
But dealing with the past is something that is problematic, and if you were a victim of a crime that was perpetrated against you and you want to continue to pursue that through justice or indeed through a truth mechanism, there were proposals as part of the Fresh Start which would have allowed that, and there was a two-pronged approach. One was judicial, one was through a truth recovery type process, and that would have been victim-centred, and that allowed the victim to be able to take the steps that they felt best placed to do that. But I know from my own personal circumstances, a family that served in the RUC, that served in the prison service, I took a decision in 2007 to share power because I felt that it was the right thing to do. I believe in devolution, and that meant working with people who I think normally you wouldn't want to work with. But in every walk of life, you have to do business with people that you maybe don't see eye to eye with and who have got a past which is difficult to reconcile yourself to. But you have to look at the greater good at times and the type of future that we want to build. And that's why we took the decision in 2007. Once we had got the parameters very clear, all parties supporting the police, the courts, the rule of law, then we were prepared to move forward on that basis.
Do you support the Lord Chief Justice's plan for 54 Troubles legacy inquests to be held in a 5-year time frame? Well,
in and of itself, those inquests are very heavily focused on the state and where the police or the army was involved. And 90% of the killings that took place in Northern Ireland was the responsibility of paramilitary organisations. And so there needs to be an equity in respect of how we investigate the past and we deal with the past. And currently there isn't an equity, and people are being treated differently. If you had a paramilitary past and you get convicted, you'll only ever serve 2 years in prison. But if you're a state actor in the RUC, or whether that was within the army, then it's a different standard that's applied. So let there be fairness in terms of how we deal with the past, but we shouldn't be a prisoner to the past either. We do have to step forward and move on.
Is the Good Friday Agreement still fit for purpose, or do we now need a new agreement?
Well, I think inevitably, as a result of what's happened in the last number of weeks, there's a clear tension at the heart of government, and navigating that is going to be difficult, and there'll be negotiations on the other side of this election. And my party is very clear. Where there is a deal to be done that is right and fair, we'll do it. Where there are demands that aren't, then there'll be issues that we won't be able to find an agreement on. But we've worked through these difficulties in the past, and we've came to resolutions. I'm confident that with the right will, we can do that again, and that's going to be a challenge. It's a time for people, I think, to hold their nerve, and it's a time for people to look at the bigger picture and not allow ourselves to go back into the ways things maybe happened 10 years ago. We need to look at the bigger picture and where our society needs to move to.
Do you think there's a place for the Irish language in our society?
I do. I think there's a debate to be had around how you protect the rights of Irish language speakers. I don't believe that legislation is necessary to do that in the same way we don't need legislation to protect the rights of English speakers, Polish speakers, Chinese speakers in Northern Ireland. But there needs to be a respect showing to the diversity that exists, and that includes Irish language. And I've been clear in my role, even as Minister, the Irish language doesn't belong to anybody. It's not a nationalist language, it's not a unionist language. And when it's used in that way, it damages the language in and of itself. And so we need to be careful not to politicise it. And that cuts both ways. It goes for the nationalist community not to use it where unionists are in a minority, particularly in west of the Ban. There's a very clear feeling that we'll put Irish signs up on the streets, and that can alienate the unionist community in those areas. And unionists need to show respect to the Irish language as well, because I don't believe it threatens us, but it shouldn't be used as a political weapon, which it has been in the past.
Are you on Twitter, and if so, do you run your own Twitter account?
I am on Twitter. I do run my own Twitter account. There are times that I regret setting up a Twitter account when you see some of the abuse that takes place. But nevertheless, it's how people engage in this modern era. I'm on Facebook. You can control it a little bit better in terms of the friends that you accept. But yes, social media is the way of the world now.